a definition of a Scottish gentleman that I read just the other day. And it was to the extent that a Scottish gentleman is one who knows how to play bagpipes but doesn't. Now, undoubtedly, that was written by an Englishman, but nonetheless, for your listening pleasure here tonight, it's not just something we tolerated. We're starting off the program this evening with, I'm not sure how many selections, but anyway, the Southern Victoria Pipe Band, they're kicking things off this evening. Take it away. sneak preview here as to what they were playing and so on. My apologies, I guess, in the excitement of being here and all that sort of thing. Perhaps I should introduce myself. I'm Dale Morton. I didn't have time to check up on these things because we just arrived here about 5 minutes before showtime. Nonetheless, you heard a selection of Scotland Parade, Wings, Travis, Bluebells, and aborted without ruin, and finally, Rowan Tree. Anyway, that was the celebratory fight band. Following this is the official welcome, and that's by Melinda Hargrove. While she's coming up, I'll remind you that perhaps you'll notice a few changes in the program as we go along. I have made some additions, deletions, and so on, so it coincides exactly what your printed program is. Don't be too upset about it.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this hall and all the children, great and small, I have been sent out here to say, we're glad to see you here today. Now for the show, we need to try to please your ear, to please your eye, and give you all a pleasant time, with music, dancing, song, and rhyme. But please remember from the start, you have to clap. You play the most important part. You have to clap, yes, even cheer. But please do it loud, we'd like to hear.
That's what she's waiting for right there, I guess. On this stage, right? Thanks, Melinda. The next selection on the program is not on your program, it's on mine. As I told you, warned you a few minutes ago, there have been a few additions and so on. There will be a reading of some of the history associated with Robert Burns, and that is being done by Mildred Gerba.
One of my favorite quotations is, "A generation that neglects its heritage loses what it has. We must always look into our past and with pride and thanksgiving." The first Burns concert was held in the schoolhouse in 1893. That tradition has continued in Kincardine. In 1895, the Burns Club was organized in Lower Stonehaven, which is now Kincardine, and the membership fee was all of 5 cents. The first hall in Kincardine burned, and then this one was built in 1909, a place to carry on the traditions brought from Scotland. There are Burns clubs in every nook and cranny in Scotland where they recall the intensely human traits of their poet Robert Burns and his kinship with the common man. Poverty, it is said, sat beside his cradle. He was born in a clay cottage at Alloway, near Ayr in Scotland, on January 25th, 1759, the oldest son of a tenant farmer from Kincardineshire. During his lifetime, he had only meager worldly possessions, but he boasted that truth and optimism walked hand in hand with him. Robert Burns was proud to be a farmer as well as a poet. Later, he worked as a tax collector, a job he was offered when his first book of poems, the Kilmarnock edition, was published. One countryman said of Burns, he wrote a good many sensible things. Burns was a defender of the poor and a critic of the undeserving gentry, a working man in a society based on wealth and rank. He lived life on his own terms and fiercely upheld the rights of ordinary people. Burns married Jean Armour. They had a family of 4 boys and 1 girl. Though he had only a few years of formal education, he took a keen interest in the education of his children, following the example of his father many years before. At an early age, Burns' health began to fail. He died on January the 25th, 1796, aged 37 years. Robert Burns was born 233 years ago. Though he rose to become Scotland's national bard, he would still humbly say, "A man's a man for all that." It is with a deep sense of pride that we gather at Burns Hall tonight to honor Robbie Burns and to look into our past with pride and thanksgiving.
Robbie Burns, while the choir is filtering up for the next selection. I guess probably for me it will mean considerably more this year because I had the great pleasure this summer of spending 3 weeks in Scotland, and one of the places we visited was Burns Cottage, and it's kind of nice, you know. We've been celebrating these things for quite some time here, but it certainly brings it home a little bit more to you when you can go back to the old country and take a look at some of the history and places that Burns wrote about in his writings and his plays and so on. So I guess with that in mind, I would encourage everyone here, you know, if you ever get the opportunity to go to Scotland, by all means, go for it. The choir is going to sing now, "There Was a Lad," and "Coming Through the Rye."
Oh,
Great job, Marjorie. I know of no better way of perpetuating Scottish culture and the customs associated with it than to start them out at a young age like that, and it's great to see. Recitations, next on the program, My Grandpa Was a Scotsman by Holly Farmer.
My grandpa was a Scotsman. My grandpa was a funny man, he's Scotch as he can be. I try to teach him all I can, but he can't talk like me. He plays with me most every day and writes me on his knee. He took me for a picnic once and dressed up just like me. He says I am a bonny bairn and kisses me and when I ask him why he can't talk right, he says I dinna ken. But he and I have lots of fun, he's such a funny man. I dance for him and brush his hair and love him all I can. I call him Andrew, that's his name, and he says I can't talk. Then he puts my plaidie on and takes me for a walk.
Set up for the next one. Fresh set of jokes, riddles, that sort of thing. I guess a couple of things, speaking of Scottish culture and so on, I would like to let you in on a few secrets. Maybe they're not really secrets, but you may make a mental check in your calendar of a few events that are coming up relating to Scottish events throughout all the warmer part. I guess it's really warm out there now, but the summer part of the year. I think it probably kicks off, at least to my knowledge, with a concert that is being held. I believe it's the 1st of May in Playhouse in Fredericton by the Fredericton Society of St. Andrew Pipe Band. And it's my understanding that they are planning a tour somewhat similar to what they had conducted last year, and probably many of you already had the opportunity to take in the concert that they put on at the Southern Victoria High School last year. At any rate, that's probably the first event of the season. There are numerous parades, that sort of thing, and probably what I would really like to encourage everybody here to attend, if at all possible, is to put in a little plug here now for the New Brunswick Highland Games. They're being held the 25th and 26th of July in Ormoc-Tow, and certainly everybody is welcome to attend that, encouraged to attend that. Threatened with your life if you don't attend that. Everybody's going to be there. Let me see, are there any other things of note? Forgot one. Probably the first one that's coming up is unique in the province in that it's the only music festival in the province that has a component attached to it relating to bagpipes and drums and so on. I believe that is going to be sometime in April, but I'm not sure of the exact date. Is Mark McLaughlin with any chance? Mark?
It's either the first or second weekend in April. We're not finished negotiating that with our unions.
The first or the second weekend in April. And at last reading, I heard they weren't sure because of the big turnouts that we're getting, they may have to build a new rink big enough to hold it or something like that. So anyway, keep that in mind as well. Is the next one ready to go? Okay, the next selection, it is Mark and Melissa Morton. Mark is the little one on the drum, Melissa is the one pipes. That was a cut version of Clumsy Lover, not the whole part of it by any means, but anyway, a good start. Next item on the program is a solo, and it's the Cannon Gate by Cape of France. He's over here. Thanks, Kate. Scottish Chorale coming up next. Cottage Where Burns was born. made announcements here, I think, while they're setting up. One is, I've been asked to announce that someone is missing an elegant coat button. It belongs to you. It's sort of hard to tell in here in this light, but it kind of looks like a burgundy color, perhaps, with a little bit of light in the center of it. It belongs to you. Check your pockets or whatever. Anybody who's missing one, let me know. The second announcement is that, I guess in relation to the next item on program, and it's a play by the Scotch Colony Players. If you've been in attendance at any of these over the past years, you'll note that one of the established fixtures, I guess, in any of those plays that were put on was Ethel Hargrove. She won't be participating this evening, but we're certainly delighted that she's well enough to be here. And in case anyone hadn't noticed, she's sitting right down right in front of the stage. Good to have you here. Second time around for that button, I guess. Still got it. Ah, Mabel.
Yes.
Good Mabel.
That's right.
Oh, I haven't seen you since. Good to see you too. Must be at least 10, 15, 20 years. Anyway, next item, as I said, is the Scotch Colony Players play. I'm not sure of the title of it. There's nothing on the program listed. You're as well informed as I am. We'll see what they come up with.
Am I early?
Oh, no, that's all right. I'm glad you got here a little early. It'll give us a chance to have a chat. Take off your coat.
Yes, I want to get here a little bit early.
Yeah, well, I'm going over those books, and they're not coming out right at all.
Oh, I brought
Maybe
my
we
books
can go over
too.
them together. You'll have them straightened out right here.
I want to come a little early because you never share. Thank you, what I saw.
No, what did you see? It wasn't Bob and Susan. You weren't one of the ones that saw them out there sanding this morning.
I pay no attention to Bob anymore.
Well, you know, I thought that Andy and Darlene had put a stop to that a few years ago.
Just about time, but I'll pay no attention to him anymore because we've tried and tried to point out the errors of his ways, and he doesn't appreciate it one bit. In fact, I heard that he told Gareth Dingy that if we didn't mind our own business, he'd sick Mark Johnston on us.
Oh my, so the lawyer?
That's what he said.
Well, we didn't tell nothing but the truth anyway, so he hasn't got a leg to stand on.
Well, I was just, I thought he'd know that we just have to watch over the young people in the community, and that's all I was doing. I went up to the store and I was looking around there, and I saw that Teresa. Look, every man came in the store, she's looking up at him, smiling away. Myself, she's lucky Richards was around. But then, get an eyeful of this. Who should come along but that Mrs. Love?
You are your Lady Day member?
That's the one, the grass widow. At least she says her husband's away with the town. He better be because she was with a strange man.
Who do you think it might be?
I have no idea, but apparently she's doing pretty well the way she's looking up at him, grinning, talking away. I just wish Ethel had been there. She'd known what to say.
Her off in no uncertain terms. But my soul, he's only been out of town for a couple of weeks on business, her husband. I just can't figure that out. Well,
Well, just wait till you hear the rest of it.
Oh, Millie, you've got to be kidding.
I saw it with my own eyes.
Oh, well, your eyes aren't as good as they used to be. When there's a man around, you always see him, so you know a man.
Well, why did they do that for a scandal? In this little place.
But I don't know, but what did he look like anyway?
Well, he didn't look like the right type to me that any decent woman be running around with.
Oh, my goodness, do you suppose that's her now? What am I going to say? Well, I suppose, well, I got to get my thoughts together. Well, oh, Ruby, it's you. I'm so glad you came. I'm glad it's you. Look, just take your coat off.
This is a lovely afternoon.
Oh, it is. I'm glad you got here because Millie and I have some very important news. Very important.
My goodness, you must have heard how much Gertrude paid for her new fur coat. I'm just dying to know what she paid. For the life of me, I don't understand how she could buy a new fur coat every winter. That's more money than I have. I can't afford it.
What do you think that fur coat of hers is new?
Well, look, she said it was.
She sat in front of me in church the other day, and I looked her coat over pretty carefully. And I'm telling you, it was pretty shabby. It really looked to me as though she might have just got it out of the garbage can. It wasn't even real fur, it was a fake. But no, really, the news we've got to tell you is a lot more important than that. It's really shocking. Millie, you go ahead and tell her.
Well, I was just telling Mavis that I saw that lady that we were foolish enough to invite to join Our Lady's Aid out with a man. A man? Oh, you must be mistaken. Why, her husband's only been gone. Isn't that just like a woman? You can't trust her. A day or two or a week or two. Off and go with another man. Maybe some other person, some other woman's husband, who knows? If some lucky for Paula, she didn't introduce her husband to her. She doesn't know where he is half the time now. She never know where he is.
Well, you know, I'm not going to introduce Earl to her. I'm going to not have him here. You know, I think maybe we should call Celia and Darlene and Susan and all those girls around here and tell them to kind of watch their husband. Keep them away from her. Yeah, I think so. But you said he was kind of sneaky looking too, didn't you, Millie?
Yes, he was. He was a weird, evil-looking lad, I'm telling you. And she was a sight to behold, all painted up like a chorus girl. Oh, my soul. Just imagine. We've asked her to join Our Lady's Aid. Isn't that terrible?
Well, you just never know today. But you haven't heard the rest of it yet. You go ahead and tell her, Millie.
Oh, my soul. That's worse than ever. What do you suppose all this scandal... Oh, must be scandal. What does it mean?
Oh my goodness. Maybe that's her now. What am I going to say?
Well, it just doesn't seem proper to have a lady like that in Our Lady's Aid. You know, our elder's wife is some fussy who we have for a member. We should have asked her, but we have already invited her. There's nothing we can do. We've got to welcome her.
Well, I've got to let her in.
Yes, why not?
Oh, Gertrude, it's you. I'm so glad you came. Come on in and take your new coat off. It never seems right to have a meeting. Without having the elders like here with us. And you always bring so much to our meetings. We just couldn't get along without you.
Well, thank you, Mavis. That was real nice of you. And don't you fellas look cozy. But don't let me interrupt.
I know you're catching up on the gossip, and you know I like gossip that was on the next one. Well, I'll tell you, Millie's got a little gossip about our new member, like our new ladies' aid member.
You mean the new lady up the street, Lula?
Yeah, that's who she means. You never can tell with a person. You gotta get better acquainted with them. You never know what they're up to.
She's not all right.
You go ahead and tell her, Millie.
I hate to tell you, Gertrude, but I saw her out with a weird-looking young man. Awful looking.
Really? I just can't believe that. And I suppose it was at night, was it?
Well, it was late enough. I was coming home from babysitting my grandchildren, and that wasn't too early. And in fact, I didn't realize first who it was. I almost bumped right into him. She didn't. He was an evil-looking thing, and she was all gussied up. I'll tell you, she didn't look much like a lady we'd want in our lady team.
Oh, my, and you know, she puts a loony in the collection plate every Sunday. Oh, my land, isn't that generous of her? But you know, probably she's got a guilty conscience, and she's just trying to ease her conscience a little by putting that much in. No, it's something worse than that. No, you
I'm shocked. I think I'm feeling pain.
It's more than that to keep you from fainting. You wouldn't want to miss anything.
Now, I'm sure that you watch TV, and you know those gangster movies. Well, that's just exactly what he looked like, one of those evil-looking gangsters.
Oh, my soul, I'd hate to meet him up in the dark night.
Oh, I can't believe that, Azula. I wouldn't think she'd be fooling around with another man while Ed's away. After all, he's only been gone a little while. But then you know these young people. And she's quite young. Well, I don't know about that. I sat and looked at her in church. I just thought to myself, there's a tough-looking old bird in my chicken. I've never seen 45 again.
And I don't bet she dyes her hair, too. Of course, that takes 20 years off your age.
Take more than dyeing your hair to get 20 years off your age. You know the old saying, you can't judge a book by its cover. I suppose that goes for people as well. Oh my, that would be her. I'll just have to let her in. But what am I going to say?
Just have to just pretend and just sort of hint. But you have to welcome her. But we just hint that the elders like very particular who we have to join our lady day. But we've already invited her, so now you've got to welcome her in. So you know what I think? I think we should just all meet her in at the door. Have her off first thing.
I don't want any trouble in my house. No, no. Oh, it's you, Zilla. Come in.
Mavis, how are you?
Well, I'm all right.
Well, I guess I'll just take it off myself. It's kind of wet underfoot, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
And how are all you ladies this afternoon? We're all right. Am I late?
Oh, no.
Because I've been quite busy. I must be late. Oh, Millie, did I not see you on Main Street in Andover this morning? I had a lot of things on my mind, and I really wasn't quite sure it was you.
Oh, it certainly wouldn't take the people of this community long to know you, Zula.
In fact, some of them think they know all about you already. Why, thank you, Ruby. That's really nice for you to say it. Thank you. You know, ladies, I can only stay but a few minutes.
Oh, and why do you have to leave so early?
Well, I'm sorry, but I really must. I have some new responsibilities now. Responsibilities? Say, well, I never. I thought it was only married women whose husbands were at home who had responsibilities. I know married women with their husbands at home. Those men are just a blasted burden. Why, I don't understand what you mean. Well, I really enjoy having burdens for a change.
Yes, but you know, there's different kinds of burdens.
Well, yes, I understand that. But, well, see, I have a new husband. Yes, I did see that. I saw you had a guest.
A woman has to be very careful in this God-fearing town. What you do and what you say. They're always listening and they're watching everything you do and say. And if there's any gossip to be found, they'll spread it around town. And you know it later on.
And you watch yourself, especially around men. For heaven's sakes, ladies, you don't mean to tell me that people are gossiping about my son?
Your son?
Yes, my son. I really am rather shocked. Now I know, Millie, why you didn't see me this morning. You were too busy looking at my boy, weren't you? Well, I don't blame you, not one little bit. Not one little bit. You see, in fact, I have a hard time to keep my eyes off of myself sometimes.
Oh, yes.
Well, now, I remember I did see you with that nice-looking young man. You don't mean the baby? Why, that's my little grandson, Scotty. My very own blessed grandson.
Grandson? Well, you don't look old enough to be a grandmother. Well,
Well, yes, of course. You see, I'm looking after little Scotty while Herbert and his wife get settled. You see, he's just been ordained.
ordained. Oh, he's a minister, hasn't he?
Why, Gertrude, I thought you knew. Didn't your husband tell you this morning? He just called Herbert and asked him if he would take the pulpit on Sunday.
No, he never told me. You wait till supper time tonight. You'll get a good going over. That's right. Keep me up to date on what's going on around this town.
Well, yes, and ladies, it will be the first time that I have ever seen my Herbert speak from the pulpit. And I can tell you, you know how mothers are. It'll certainly be a very proud moment for me, too.
Oh, we can see that. Great edge.
Well, ladies, I really hate to depart from good company, but I'm sorry I have to be getting along home now. The baby seems to be a bit colicky today.
Oh, yes? Oh, my goodness, whatever you do, don't feed him any of that soothing syrup. That'll make him worse.
Oh, really?
Yes, it will.
You just wait, and I'll get one of my children's comforters, and you can wrap them in it. You know, you want to keep his feet warm. That's the main thing.
Oh, well, thank you, ladies. But you really don't know how things have changed since we had our little babies. Why, my daughter-in-law, she won't even let me put stockings on little Scotty.
Oh, poor
No,
Nancy.
that's how things changed.
We hate to see you leave so soon.
Well, ladies, it was a pleasure, and you will come see me real soon, won't you?
Oh, we certainly will. Oh, do come back again to our meetings. And I went to put some apple pie in your kitchen some morning.
Oh, that would be nice, Gertrude. And I can hardly wait to see that nice-looking son of yours and meet him. I really think he is something, just like I do. Well, bye-bye.
Well, just imagine my hubby not telling me we're having a new minister Sunday. Men, they're every one alike. Grandmother, I just can't imagine that. Isn't it lovely?
My goodness, and looking so nice and young, just as fresh as a daisy. I never was so embarrassed in all my life. Now that's going to give us a lesson. Criticizing people we don't know anything about.
Well, you know, the first time I saw her in church, I look at her every Sunday, and I just say, isn't that a beautiful face? Look about her. Look, she has the face of a Madonna.
Well, just wait till you see her son. Oh, if ever I saw a fine-looking young man. I just said, look, he has such a noble countenance. I can hardly wait to see him and hear him in our pulpit.
And I suppose he's a real snappy dresser. You know how the young people dress today. Ear in here and a ponytail and a couple of
No, indeed. He was dressed like and looked exactly like a gentleman.
Well, you know, girls act Well, you know, it's a woman's privilege to be able to change her mind.
As usual, what can they say? You know, it's a tough act to follow when you try to do something, stop and act like that. Maybe a year older, but I think they're probably 3 or 4 years better. I guess in relation to that play, not that I'm insinuating our gossip or anything like that, but if you ever have the occasion when you can't, you know, the phone breaks down or something, there's a remarkable system to get information. Next on the agenda is another filler and another pipe and drum selection. Melissa is back again, this time accompanied by Sean. Thank you. secret. I think you probably figured I taught Mark all he knows, but actually I didn't have anything to do with it. I picked up a little bit probably from Sean.
Where are we at here?
Another solo coming up. Spinning Wheel, Isabel Morton. Recitation is next on the program by Leah Hargrove.
As I see the tall men marching and hear the bagpipes play, I know that they are feeling proud to wear the kilt today. There was a time in Scotland they dare not have a clan, or worship God the way they knew, so they had to make a stand. As I see the kiltie swaying side to side, with every marching step I feel the pride that the wee small bit of Scotland runs in my blood today. So here's cheers to bonny Scotland as we march along the way.
Scottish Chorale is coming up next. They have a series of 3 songs Mist-Covered Mountains, Banks and Braes, and Bunning Need. And while they're getting set up, I would like to remind you that following the conclusion of the program, there will be a short intermission. The lunches served back here, donuts, sandwiches, coffee, et cetera, and that will be followed in turn by a dance, I believe. I think that's for long. It doesn't say so on the program, but it wouldn't be a Burns night without a dance. the agenda, be a skit. Sparkling Peggy Jones by Zula Love and Isabel Morton. We call for intermission here now, I suppose. But that's not. Lose all captive audience. I was told to tell a joke, but I can't even think of any of those. I don't have my dancing shoes, so I can't dance.
Sing a little song.
Anyway, as I said a while ago, next on the program is a skit. That is Sparkling Baby Jones. Whenever they get ready for it. I'll be where it is. It's getting there. Don't go away mad.
Howdy, Zachariah.
And howdy, Peggy Jane.
It's mighty nice this evening,
Acting for the rain.
but we'll be nice and cozy sitting here tonight without a fire or lamplight, for love is burning bright.
And old folks is a wishing that they were young again. And every Zachariah,
The spark is Peggy Jane.
Peggy, darling Peggy.
Yes, Zachariah dear.
Could you, that is, would you?
What makes him act so queer?
Could you, that is, will you? Gee, what can I say? Oh, will you come a riding along with me one day? I have a question, Peggy.
That I will answer true.
Could you, will you, would you?
Most anything I do.
Could you, that is, would you? I hope she won't say no. Some pleasant day next summer, you'd help my mother's soul.
That binge you are provoking.
And Peggy, you're so sweet.
You are so pesky bashful.
Oh, how dainty are your feet.
Now see here, Zachariah, we're going to have a row. You came to pop the question. Why not do it now?
Gee, but ain't it jolly, a spark in you and me.
But where is my proposal?
Maybe in 93.
one being the music festival coming up in April. And if you missed that one, you'll have another chance, and you can pick up on a few things. Noted one being the Brunswick Highland Games. Don't miss it, folks. I gather that maybe they're ready to go
We decided we wanted to do something a little different for you this year, so we put together a couple of medleys. This first one was one we arranged by ourselves. The most often comment I heard while we were doing it was that it was definitely different. The tunes are Haley, Walk the Hills, Road to the Isles, Mary's Wedding, and Hundred Pipers. One of the interesting things about something like that, there's all kinds of opportunity to crash and burn. There's a bit of the story behind the next medley. Last year when we were asked to play here, we looked at tunes we could do, and this medley came out. But after trying it a while, we realized we weren't going to be able to do it. So we selected other tunes, but I think each of us realized that we wanted to do it for you people here at Burns. So the practicing was pretty intense this summer, and we're ready. The medley itself are a group of old tunes. But a few years ago, Cape Breton Symphony put together this arrangement, and it's become fairly popular fiddle group since then. The tunes are The Flowers of Edinburgh, Miss McLeod's Reel, The Fairy Dance, and The Mason's Apron. But it's become known as just the Flowers of Edinburgh medley. I hope you enjoy it.
Cape Breton Symphony hadn't sneaked in behind the curtain. Anyway. Final selection on the program this evening comprised of couple of tunes, couple songs by the choir, Son to Keep Her Up, and My Heart is Sad. And as traditional with any Burns celebration, that will be followed up by All That Time. I would expect that everyone here more than willing, or more than welcome at least, to stand up and join in the singing of All That Time. That'll be followed up by a short intermission where you have a chance to go back and pick up a sandwich or two, or three, or whatever, and give the musicians a chance to tune up again for the evening. They'll be set up to dance.
We Jody was skating up and down the road. So it's fun. But skating from our house up to Moynihan's. And I skated down at Joni's house. Then we skated.
program this evening, ladies and gentlemen. We would more than happy to have you join us now and see what all ends on.